my immune system had crashed. I was essentially just allergic to life. When I'd eat something or be exposed to even simple things like a perfume, my immune system would just go crazy. Once the neurotoxins hit a certain level, I'd have a seizure, really bad seizures. The thing about it is no doctor ever mentioned the ketogenic diet. All they said is, here, take this drug. Those drugs, the side effects of those drugs are just unbearable. It's a life not worth living, right? So I had to get off the drugs. And so I'm searching for everything. I'm experimenting with everything, really deepen my understanding of the ketogenic diet. As long as I get a good enough sleep and I'm good with my diet, I don't have seizures. Really enjoyed my time in the Navy. I loved it. Loved the guys. The camaraderie was great. And the vast majority of guys there are there for the right reasons, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed that, wanted to make it a career after being in it. And, so it was quite a, when that was taken away from me, that was quite a emotional hit, it was tough. And so, but then I also had to figure out how to get myself healthy, right? To the point where I can come back to the world.
Because there was no family history of the seizures. This came out of left field and hit you by surprise.
Completely out of left field. There's no history at all. I had no history in the family, no head trauma of any kind prior to that. And so it took years to figure out, to come up with a theory as to what caused it. And what it was is because what we're ultimately able to figure out that it was my immune system had crashed. And I was essentially just allergic to life. And so, when I'd eat something or be exposed to even simple things like a perfume or inhalants or any kind of like pollens and whatnot, my immune system would just go crazy. And once the neurotoxins hit a certain level, I'd have a seizure. And these are the really bad, not that it's a good kind of seizure, right? But the really bad seizures. And so we were ultimately able to address that by testing what was going on with the immune system, and then found a alternative treatment that was able to rebuild the immune system. Slowly, I still do this treatment many years later, but after the first treatment, it stopped the severe seizures. I was still having many, many minor seizures, though, where part of the brain was seizing. But I was, at that point, I was able to start coming back into the world because I wasn't going to make it.
What was that treatment protocol?
Yeah, so it is what's called it was called EPD, or enzyme potentiated desensitization. So it's essential where you're taking micro amounts of various antigens, hundreds or even thousands of different antigens across different categories, and then mixing them together with a solution of enzymes, and then injecting that sub-Q. And then what that then did was induce the body to produce new T suppressor cells that could then communicate with the T cells and say, no, don't go crazy when you're in the presence of this, antigen. So it's essentially to calm, to retrain the immune system, and it worked. So again, no more severe seizures after the first treatment, and of course, again, the minor seizures continued, and I had to figure that out. The thing about it is that no doctor ever mentioned the ketogenic diet. At least I remember. I was pretty far gone. I really wasn't very present at all for a number of years there, but nobody ever mentioned. All they said is, here, take this drug. And I tell you, Robert, those drugs, the side effects of those drugs are just unbearable. It's not life. It's a life not worth living, right? So I had to get off the drugs. And so I'm searching for everything. I became a biohacker before it was a thing. This is 25 years ago. So I'm just
What were some of the symptoms
everything.
of the drugs that you were experiencing?
Depression. It would be, I felt like I was in kind of a invisible cage, and mentally, I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
that I just couldn't break out of. It was very depressing, and just the particular. I mean, it depends on what it was. They all had slightly different ones. So was like Dilantin was horrible. Depakote was that just gives me, just to think the word Depakote gives me, uh, I don't know, just get a visceral reaction, um,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so horrible. But I don't know if that really answers your question, but it was just depressing. Um,
And no conversation around ketogenic diet that
no,
you can recall from any of the doctors.
nope. I had to find it myself. I'm experimenting with everything, and I stumbled upon the ketogenic diet myself. And then I actually went and met with some. Do you know Dom D'Agostino by chance?
A good friend of mine.
So I went to later. I went to one of his metabolic conferences. I went to a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went to the first and second ones when they were in Tampa.
In Tampa, Florida, Metabolic Health Summit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And there I met some guys from they're actually one was a pediatric, and another worked with adults at Johns Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to work with them for a bit, and that's how I really deepened my understanding of the ketogenic diet. And that solved, as long as I get a good enough sleep and I'm good with my diet, I don't have seizures.
So the original variation of the ketogenic diet used in the 20s for epileptic children was like pretty much prescribed as like a 4-to-1, lots of, liquid fats, dairy fats. Were you kind of adopting that original protocol, or are you starting off with more of a modified version?
Modified for sure. It wasn't enough protein in that original protocol, right? So I was definitely having much more protein, but I was heavily restricting carbohydrates and sugar.
Mm-hmm.
For the first several years, much more than I am now. I'm able to have a little more carbs now, but yeah, I was pretty strict at that point, but having much more protein than that original protocol.
Were you pretty much able to get off the medications the same time you started the diet, or was there kind of like a overlap
It took a while. It took a while. It was definitely a process. It didn't feel safe to fully get off them right away. I was kind of titrating off of them slowly. Um, and but then the other piece of it is, and this is where what leads into sound, is that I was experimenting with different nutrients, things like the phospholipids, phosphatidylcholine and serine, CDP choline, etc. And those nutrients also changed my life.
there?
And then those are in our first product that we're launching here in about a month. Many of those are in that product. So many of the nutrients that go into here changed my life.
Crazy how something as simple as food can have such a profound impact, and it doesn't get talked about near enough.
Yeah, oh, for sure, absolutely. Um, we'll get into another conversation, but I sat with the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee yesterday, and we're talking about improving nutrition for the warfighter as well.
Hmm. No, this is super cool, man. Like our product, the Keto Brick, like it's been in 2 studies involved in like military applications, and one of them just got published early this week, actually. But I'm like, when you look at what they're feeding, the military personnel, the MREs, it's got a lot of calories in there, but I would hope to think that we're past the point of just looking at calories and actually diving into the nutrients therein. And
Sure.
what they're typically feeding them is far from nutritious.
Far from nutritious. We probably have the best military food and combat food in the world, but it doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not. And a lot of it has to do with just some of the requirements. I mean, they have to have very, very long shelf life.
Mm-hmm.
They have to store a lot of food in prep for a surge. So, um, So that's one of the big problems. So it has to have extended shelf life. We're talking 3 to 5 years shelf life. So that becomes difficult to get nutrients in there, right, and maintain those nutrients. So you have to have something unique to do that. Conventional technology, conventional manufacturing can't do that. So whereas our new manufacturing, our proprietary patented technology is able to do that, actually put bioactive nutrients. We don't damage the nutrients in the first place, but then also add bioactive nutrients into a nutritional product and then also give it shelf life.
And that's via the sound wave technology?
That's right. That's right.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Savage Clip. If you want to see the full blown deep dive, check out the full episode here, and I'll see you there.